Session on achieving Tableau Next Level Finance with Agentic Analytics. We're so excited to be here. We can't wait to get started. But of course, before we do, some forward-looking statements. I'm sure everybody has this memorized already, but if you don't, the long and short is that we're going to show you a bunch of cool stuff up here today. Just don't make any purchasing decisions on what we say. Only use publicly available information, please. And with that, we want to start off with a thank you. Thanks to everybody here. Thanks to everybody watching on Salesforce Plus. We really appreciate all of your time. We know you're having full agendas, lots competing for that time, and we appreciate you spending some of it with us. And I'm Kevin Roth. I'm a senior finance data and AI analyst here at Salesforce.
And I'm Hannah Greiner, another member of our enablement team. Been at Salesforce for about 2 years now, but longtime lover of Tableau.
Long time is right. So I'm going to date myself just a little bit here. I've been using Tableau for over 10 years, and a lot has changed in that time. And it can feel kind of like a full-time job to keep up with all of that. And for us, it actually is our full-time job. So we work at what's called the Finance Data Office here at Salesforce. And we do the whole gamut of data and AI capabilities. So data governance, who has access to the right data? Data engineering, curating data sets. We'll co-build dashboards for you. Hannah and I run the enablement team. So we're doing trainings for our internal finance employees just like this to teach them how to get the most value out of Tableau and their data, and on down the line. And the through line for all of that is data and AI. But we didn't get here overnight, right? It's been a journey. It continues to be a journey. And it starts with a reliable data foundation. This is the core structure for all the things that we do. Once we have that, we can start automating some of our processes. So for example, moving things from Excel to Tableau. And once we're in Tableau, we can start building out metrics and dashboards. And now what we're working on more and more is some of the AI features. So predictive modeling. How are we making better forecasts? Agentic AI. How are we taking action on that data? But these projects are really difficult to make successful. And so what we found is the way we need to think about these things is to start with our people. They're the key to unlocking a successful data and AI project. Do you have the right people in the room? Is everybody aligned on what you're trying to do? Are they incentivized? Are they enabled so that when the technology meets them there, they're ready to use it, right? The second biggest piece here is your process. What does it look like today? What would you like for it to look like in the future? And what does success actually look like? All of those things are super critical when you're talking about where do we want to start implementing some of these data and AI solutions. And then finally, at the top of our pyramid is technology. Once I figured out who's going to be working on what process, I can start to hone in on which technology I'm going to implement and where. And are people ready to use it? And is it the right tool for the job? Now, all of this is important, but I want to dive in a little bit more deeply into the people, because oftentimes we overlook this, and it's really, really critical. So the Finance Data Office conducted a research project last year where we set out to find out how folks in finance feel about data and AI. And we found 4 key personas in our organization that you're likely to find in yours as well. The first one are high-stakes skeptics. So these might be your accounting folks. Accuracy is everything. It has to be right. They have to trust the data. They have to trust the AI solution. No hallucinations for these folks, right? So how do we make sure that we're building solutions that meet them where they are? Second group, a lot of folks in this room and watching online probably fall in here, are overwhelmed operators. These people would love nothing more than to join our new AI task force and start creating these cool solutions. But you just asked them for 5 extra hours in an already packed 40-hour work week. It's just not going to work. So how do we build something that's going to help them do their job faster, more efficiently, and more effectively? Our third group is our self-starters. These folks are the poster children for using AI for personal productivity. And that's great, but how do we get them to think bigger, to move from individual prompts to full-scale transformation in our organization? And then finally, we have our technical analysts, our builders, our Hannahs of the world, right? You give them the right technology, they're going to build something great with it. But we need the buy-in and the cooperation from all 4 of these groups to actually make something successful. And we need to reach them all in different ways. Now, how are we going to do that? And not just to reach these people, but maybe your more traditional personas, right? Executives, management, business partners, analysts. So we like to think about this like we might think about a book. I'm sure everybody's read To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a classic. There's a lot of ways that you can experience this book, though. If you're like me, you like the paperbacks. Like to have the physical book in my hands. Hannah's a big fan of the Kindle. It's a big space saver. She can fit a lot of books all in one tiny little spot. Some of you might be fans of audiobooks. Maybe you listen to them on your commute or on the way to TC in San Diego, right? That's all the same book, same words, same configuration, same story, but it's just different ways of reaching different audiences. And we think about Tableau in much the same way, right? So whether we're using traditional dashboards or we're creating pulse metrics using some of those Gen AI capabilities, or we can go to the next level, Tableau Next, conversational analytics, agentic analytics, taking action on our data. All of these are built on the single source of truth, which is Tableau. And that's super important because finance in particular has a ton of different boundary systems that we might be using. So we spend a ton of money on TC. We're looking at travel and entertainment expenses and Concur. We're looking at Workday for headcount. We're looking at Hyperion for forecasting. And all of that, our center of gravity is Data 360 and Tableau. So no matter where we get our data from, it all funnels back to where we can use it. Now this all sounds great, but it's TC, so let's do a demo and see what this looks like in action. So imagine with me for a second that Hannah and I are now on our collections team here at Salesforce. What you're looking at right now is just a single invoice. How much is due? Are we past due? Who's our customer? And then the comments that we're leaving as we're having conversations with our clients trying to collect payment. My big problem here is that I have hundreds of these. So it can be a super big pain to try and prioritize where I need to work, what needs my attention. It can be tough for my manager to keep track of what all of us are doing and how we're tracking towards our goals. And so we're going to use Tableau Next to help us out. So what we've got here is a nice dashboard that's giving us a bunch of different things. And powering it is a semantic data model with predictive modeling that we're running in Python through Snowflake. We've got our aggregate payment data, so how much we're actually collecting. And then we've got those invoice details that you just saw. We're bringing all that into one model to power this dashboard. We've got a lot of great information right off the top, right? We can see how much we brought in. We can see how much we were projected to bring in. Great performance this month, right? Maybe we need to adjust those models so we can look for outliers in our data for each day's payments and see if we need to make some tweaks. And then as we scroll down, we can do some of this more traditional dashboarding, slicing and dicing our data. We can see our balance due by aging category, by custom risk profiles that we set up for all of our customers and all of our invoices. And then finally, our invoice detail table. And what I want to focus on here is those collector comments. So in the past, it's been really difficult, if not impossible, to take that unstructured data and make any sense out of it. So we're going to use Tableau Agent to do that. So we're going to pop open our agent, and we're going to ask it to take a look at all of those comments and let us know which ones or which invoices may indicate a delay in payment that we need to follow up on. Give us a nice little blurb about why it's giving us that information, and then sort them by balance due so we can properly prioritize what we need to look at first, right? So it's going to look through all of these comments. It's going to spit out a nice little list. And here are our top invoices that we need to go after. It's got our nice little blurb just like we asked for, and this is great. I want to pause here to go back to our personas. So our overwhelmed operators, our self-starters, they're super happy right now, right? We just saved them time. They're asking questions about their data that might not even be available in the dashboard itself, but it's available in the agent. But what about our skeptics? Well, Tableau Agent is great for them too, because every time that we get an answer from Tableau Agent, it's going to give us a source. Where did it get that information? What sort of query did it send out? And so it knows, or it's told us here, that it's using words like issue or rejected or delay. But how did it know that? Well, another little nugget for those skeptics is what's called business preferences. So we're going to go over to our semantic data model. And the reason that the agent knows the correct way to search for those terms is because we told it, right? Every business runs differently, and all of that unique business logic, we can put it right on top of our semantic model with business preferences so that we get better, more accurate answers, and our skeptics are happy. That's great, but let's bounce back to our dashboard because it's not current level finance. We want to go to the next level. The next level is taking action on our data. So I could spend the rest of the morning sending out custom emails to all of these accounts for all these invoices saying, please, 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 give us money. But I don't want to do that. So I'm going to ask our agent to do it for us. And what it's done is it's sent out customized billing emails for all of those accounts. As you can see right here, here's how much you owe. You're slightly past due. Please remit payment at your earliest convenience, right? Save me a bunch of time. So we're taking action on the data and the agent's responses. Let's go back to our dashboard here for 1 second. So all of that's great, but we also talked about reaching more people. And not everybody's going to be some dashboard super user, power user, right? So how do we reach more people and get them engaged? We're going to use metrics and Slack. So in Tableau Next, metrics are basically your high-level KPIs. And what we can do is we can use Slack, which is our enterprise communication platform. We do all of our messages. We have custom documents that we use for our teams. And so you can see one here, and basically what we've done is we have copied and pasted a Tableau Next metric directly into our Teams page. And it's not just a cached image of that metric. It's real, live data. So the most up-to-date data is sitting in those metrics. Now all of our team can be on the same page, but they can also ask questions just like we did in the dashboard, right in Slack. And so, Hannah, you had a question that you wanted to ask of one of our metrics.
Yeah, this is a really great start, but what I really want to know is how our high-risk unpaid invoices have been trending recently. I don't have any metrics that tell me that right now. That's really the answer I'm looking for.
That's a great question, but I noticed you clicked into our total balance due metric, and you asked a question that has nothing to do with that.
That's a really good call out, Kevin. So what's really great is our agent's actually going to source this answer directly from our semantic model. It doesn't matter what metric I click into, what door I use to get into that model, the agent's going to be able to source it directly. Now, unfortunately, our agent, it's Wednesday, it's a little grumpy, it hasn't had its coffee yet, we all know what that feeling is, and it doesn't want to cooperate with our demo. But we can pop into last week and see what this might have looked like. Here we've got a really nice diagram showing me what that trend looks like. I've got a quick summary. I've got all the answers that I needed, typically within just a few seconds.
That's awesome. And that expands what all of our employees can do with this data. It puts it into their hands so they can customize how they engage with the analytics process. Let's take a step back now that we've seen all of that. How can the rest of you put this all together with some concrete tips? We're going to go back to our pyramid because it's super important to keep that in mind. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to upskill people. All of what you just saw takes training, takes information, and it doesn't happen overnight. So you need to have a targeted response for all the people who say, we want to use this, and teach them how. The second part is having a mindset shift around experimentation. Likely everybody in this room has read all the stories about how 90% of AI projects fail, and lots of stuff is getting left on the cutting room floor. Now, you might shoot for a better number than that, but the fact of the matter is that's okay, and people need to know that that's okay. Next, what you want to do is make sure that your data is AI ready. So we talked about having a reliable data foundation, and part of that is making sure, like we did with our business preferences, that your AI and your agents have all of that custom context. Next, process hygiene. What's right for transformation? What would be a great candidate, but it's going to take a little bit more effort? What's our low-hanging fruit, our quick wins that we can have? Make sure that you have a good scope on the landscape of your processes so that you can be more targeted. And lastly, being more strategic about using AI. All of us likely have a boss who has come into one of our meetings and says, we just need to do AI. I'm here to tell you that you don't. If you just blindly throw AI at the wall, you're going to create something that lacks vision. So make sure that you have more of a strategic focus on where and how you implement that technology. Now that's a lot. And some of you might be thinking, well, we're not quite there. And that's okay. There's lots of ways to gain value from Tableau today, and we can help you do that. So the Finance Data Office, you can use the QR code up here and visit our Tableau for Finance public viz gallery. And so no matter where you sit in finance, accounting, FP&A, treasury, tax, procurement, so on, you can find something either for inspiration, you can download, reverse engineer, plug in your own data and sort of use these as accelerators. It's a great resource to get value no matter where you are in the Tableau journey. And with that, I just want to say thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we hope you all are ready to go to the next level with Tableau. Thank you.